Welcome to episode 4 of the Rants for Red Devil podcast. Today's a bit of a special one. We have a first guest on the show, owner of United Captured. We have Wes. So let's jump right into it.
In the intro that we recorded earlier, we mentioned that you are the owner of United Captured. For those that aren't familiar with it, do you want to tell us a little bit what it's about and where the inspiration for it came from?
Yeah, so the United Captured is it's a page on Instagram which I started a little 6 years ago now. The inspiration behind starting United Captured came purely from my love for the club and just, keeping it up to date with all the latest information, transfer news, speculation. I try not to post too many things on there in terms of bizarre transfer rumours and stuff. I try and keep it more realistic, more relevant. I only use trusted sources, the different tiers with, transfer rumours and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was purely because I love the club. I'm a fan, and it didn't seeing what other pages were doing at that point inspired me to do something a little bit different and to start one, purely on Manchester United. And I started 6 years ago now, and I just started by posting a few edits that I'd made and transfer news, here and there. And then we hit 1,000, and then we hit 10,000, we hit 50,000, and man, I remember hitting 50,000 and thinking, wow, this is just like insane. And as soon then we hit 100k, and it was just like, we're going somewhere here. And now we're at nearly 300k, and people just like what we post. As I said, there's a lot of pages out there that do tend to post a lot of bizarre things and whatnot, but I try and stay true to Manchester United, and I try and stay relevant to the club and just upload stuff that really is not unrealistic. I target things that are more realistically possible about happening. But yeah, I mean, I just love what I do. I do it voluntarily. We do make, obviously, stuff from sponsorship and whatnot, but it keeps the page going. And yeah, it was purely down to that, really.
Yeah, awesome. You mentioned in that about the transfer speculation. With there being no football on at the moment, the back pages are filled with it. And the big one for United is, of course, Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
Think he's the right fit?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, Jadon Sancho for me is a top player. I think he's tailor-made for that number 7 shirt that we've got. We're absolutely crying out for a right winger.
Yeah.
We have been for a very long time now. Daniel James has come in and he's done a job. I mean, the expectation of signing Daniel James. Personally, I think Daniel James has overachieved.
Yes.
I think he's done very well since he's come into the team from a championship level. He has had a lot of criticism, and I can't get my head around it because he's got the most assists in our team at the moment, and he's playing very well when he does play, and he works really hard. And you can see that he's one of the players that just embraces being at Manchester United and loves every minute of wearing that shirt. And you know what? I just think that he's a fantastic squad player, but Jadon Sancho for me is an absolute must, and we need to do everything we can to get that deal done this summer. As Dortmund have already said, they don't need to sell. They're in a very good financial position. Pay the asking price, ask no questions, just get the deal done. Either way, I think we're going to get a good player. I think we're going to get a world-class player, if I'm honest with you, and I think Jadon's only going to get better.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. There was talk in Build over the weekend that Real Madrid and Barca are interested in him. Now, with their position where they are at the moment, obviously Champions League, competing for titles and domestic honours, and
yeah,
we're not there at the moment. We're in the process, but we're not there at the moment. Do you think that makes them a more attractive proposition for Sancho, or do you think we're still in pole position?
I still think we're in pole position. I don't believe in the myth that if you haven't got Champions League football, you can't sign top players. We're Manchester United, we're the biggest football club in the world. I think that's enough to appeal to any player to want to come and play for Manchester United. We signed Paul Pogba with Champions League football. We signed Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Henrik Mkhitaryan, who was playing very well at Dortmund at the time, all without Champions League football. I don't think they have any more pulling power than we do, and I think, to be honest with you, Jadon would probably prefer a move to Manchester United than Real Madrid or Barca at the moment, because although you look at the difference in level that we are, so Real Madrid and Barca have both got Champions League football at the moment, I actually think we're further ahead in terms of reshaping and development than them, because they're going to have to go through transition now, particularly Real Madrid, because they've got a lot of older players who they won't be able to sell on. And they've got no youngsters coming through either. So, in terms of progression and development, I think Manchester United would be the better option for him.
Yeah, and you touched on obviously the asking price a little earlier. A lot of financial experts around football are saying that the transfer market is probably going to collapse after this pandemic. Yeah. Do you think that in air quotes means we get Jadon Sancho a little cheaper, or do you think there's no chance?
No, I don't think there's any chance of getting Jadon any cheaper than what the asking price is. I think had Jadon been at a club, a lot less off than Dortmund, because Dortmund have got, a very, very wealthy owner, and also they've got a fantastic fan base. They fill their stadium every week. They don't have to sell if they don't want to. They've already said that they're in a fantastic financial position, and I don't think that we'll get him for a penny cheaper than what they've asked. And to be honest with you, I think, as I said before, we just need to pay the asking price and go with it.
Yeah, Woodward just needs to get the deal done rather than
absolutely
negotiating like he tried to with Bruno and Maguire. Yeah. Just get the deal done. Touched on finances a little bit there. The other big rumours, reports going around at the moment is the Newcastle United takeover from the Saudi group.
Yeah.
Obviously linked with taking over United. Obviously, if that deal for Newcastle goes through, it leaves one for United dead in the water, and effectively we're stuck with the Glazers. I say stuck. For all the money they've taken out of the club, they've always backed managers. Do you think it could be worse than the Glazers in charge?
To be honest with you, I'm not too bothered about the Saudi takeover overall, because Newcastle don't generate much money as a club anyway. So it's not a case of the owners taking over and then spending 500 million in a transfer window straight away. Obviously, they're going to have a vision of where they want to take Newcastle. They're going to have a plan to where they want to be. But actually having the plan and achieving that are two different things. They're going to have to achieve a hell of a lot in order to get to where they want to be. So, a lot of people seem to be concerned about Newcastle at the moment. I mean, I'm not really concerned. They're going to have to start turning over 4 or 5 times the amount as what they are in order to probably catch the top elite teams in world football. So, I'm not too bothered about that. But on the other side, I'm kind of pleased for Newcastle, because I've got a few friends who are Newcastle fans, and I know they love their football up north. They've had, very horrific periods with Mike Ashley. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that they're breaking free from him, because they do deserve it as a club. And I think that, for me, Newcastle are one of the bigger clubs in the league. They've got a very passionate fan base. They've got a fantastic stadium, and, all the best to them if it'll make the league that little bit more interesting.
Yeah, so from the United point of view, obviously we have the Glazers. They're going to remain. By all accounts, that there's nobody else interested. A lot of fans obviously aren't happy about the Glazer ownership, and rightly so, for all the way that the club was bought with debt and the money that's been taken out. But they've always backed managers. Do you think it could be worse than us having the Glazers in charge?
Do you know what? I'm going to say this, and a lot of people might raise their eyebrows a little bit, but I don't think the Glazers are as bad as what people are making out. You mentioned there that, they have back managers, which they have. They stopped at the end of, Jose Mourinho's reign, because I think they lost belief in him, and, there were a few bad bites in there, and I don't think they trusted him, which, in my opinion, to terminate his contract was the right decision.
Yeah.
The Glazers, for example, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he asked for a centre-back, We got Harry Maguire, 80 million. We got a right back. They paid, 50 million. They are backing their managers. It's not like they're taking all the money out and not reinvesting back in. So I do think they have had a lot of criticism fired their way, which really should be refined. I mean, if you want to criticize them for the stadium, fine, criticize them for the stadium.
Yeah.
If you want to criticize them for, executive fees, criticize them for that. But you cannot say that they're not reinvested in the side, because even under Louis van Gaal and David Moyes, we were spending money. We got into this habit of trying to sign Galactico signings every season. Your Di Marias, your Falcao's on loan. What I will say is Juan Mata, I thought, was probably the best signing, along with Bruno Fernandes, in the last 5 or 6 years post Fergie.
Yes.
Sir Alex even. But there were a hell of a lot of bad buys in there, and we cannot say that they haven't backed their manager, because they have. So yeah, that's my view on that.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know when football's going to come back. There's rumours that United are going to be back in training at Carrington by May the 18th, or on May the 18th. With obviously the Euros being pushed back to next summer, and then the summer after that, you'd anticipate the World Cup goes ahead as normal, providing everything's back to normal. Do you think it's feasible for us to start the season and continue it now, with effectively the elite players finishing this season and going into next one, then going into the Euros, then another season, then going into a World Cup and into another season?
Yeah.
Feasible, or is that just it's completely impractical to expect footballers to do that?
First and foremost, I think above all of that, I just think, my personal opinion, I don't think football should be played again this season at the moment. Life is more important than football, and the NHS are already as absolutely slammed as they could be, and they're working tremendously hard to, save loved ones and to try and preserve life, and to get everyone well again. They're just working tremendously hard, and but I think that if football was to come back, we're gonna undo all the hard work that was done by the health workers, and all of our hard work from social distancing and stuff, and trying to relieve pressure in the health service and whatnot. But I don't think it's safe.
Yeah.
I want football back as much as anyone else. I'm going crazy. I would even watch cricket if it was on telly. But honestly, now I don't think it's feasible to bring them back and to have such a congested, 12 to 16 month period or whatnot. But above that, I don't think football should come back, at least until we can guarantee safety. Yeah,
I agree. I think it needs to be voided, and obviously not just saying that because of Liverpool, but I think
well, they can have their asterisk cut. That's fine.
Yeah, well, first one with the asterisks after them. The team that won it that didn't win it. Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I don't think it's safe to bring football back, and I think there's reports on a few of the papers saying that players feel the same way as well. So I think that's all we need to know.
Yeah, well, they're human beings at the end of the day, just like me and you. And, a lot of the time, I think they get treated like animals. It's kind of like they have to do what we want, and that's not right. They're humans, and they deserve safety as much as us. And, they might have loved ones and families who are vulnerable and whatnot. And something terrible was to happen. I think the consequences would be severe.
Yeah, I agree. Just before we wrap this up, like me, you're probably old enough to remember the treble, and and you'll remember the treble that should have been in 2008.
Do you know what? I was at the game against Portsmouth in the FA Cup, right? And I'll never, ever, ever forgive Martin Atkinson for not giving us a penalty, because Ronaldo was wiped right out in the box, and we should have had a penalty, and ultimately we lost the game. That's one of the games that still haunts me today.
I agree. Haunts me as well.
Most definitely would have won the treble that year again.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we were an untouchable team in 2008, like we were in 99. I think we'd have gone on and won the treble then as well.
Yeah.
what I thought we'd do is I thought we'd come up with a combined 11 from the 1999 and the '08 Champions League final starting 11s.
Yeah.
So in 1999, it was 4-4-2. '08, we went 4-3-3. You can pick your formation and we'll just go through.
Have to be 4-4-2 for me. I'm old school, and I just think 4-4-2 works in any game.
Yeah, so we'll go 4-4-2. So we've got goalkeepers, Schmeichel or Van der Sar.
Schmeichel.
Yeah,
I love it. I love Edwin van der Sar. Don't get me wrong. One of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen, and to come to Manchester United at 35 and to do what he did was just incredible. But Schmeichel was just, he was part of the treble winning squad, and the saves he pulled off in that season, the Bergkamp penalty, in the semi-final, it was just Schmeichel for me. And that's no disrespect to Edwin, because he's one of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen, but has to be Schmeichel.
Yeah, I think it's sort of credit to both keepers here in terms of Schmeichel was the irreplaceable one that wasn't really replaced until Van der Sar came. 10 keepers later. So they're two incredible keepers. So if we look at right back then, so we've got Gary Neville from '99 or Wes Brown from '08.
I'd have to go with Gary. Wes Brown was unbelievable that season when he filled in, because he played a few games in the Premier League as well, but particularly in the final. He had a fantastic game, got an assist as well for Cristiano. But yeah, I have to go Gary Neville. I have to go Gary. He's England's best ever right back.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. He's probably the best English right back that's been around in my generation anyway.
Yeah.
So centre-backs, we've got a choice of 4. We've got Jonsson and Stam from '99 or Ferdinand Vidic from '08.
Do you know what? Yap is one of my favourite ever defenders, and when he left Manchester United, it's probably the most upset aside from Ronaldo. The thing is, when Ronaldo left and when Cantona retired, you knew both of those, both were happening. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Eric announced his retirement. Cristiano stayed the extra year and said he was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But when Yap left, it broke me. But I have to go for Vidic and Rio for a partnership as centre-backs in that team. And do you know what? Yap, I think, was the best defender out of the 3. But in terms of partnership and, working together, I have to go with Rio and Nemanja.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of the 4 centre-backs from those 2 sides, Yap was individually the best one. But good centre-backs are built on partnerships, and that Ferdinand and Vidic partnership was immense.
Yeah, insane. Absolutely insane.
So we'll move on to left-back. We've got Dennis Irwin or Patrice Evra. Another tough.
Yeah, well, again, I love Patrice. He's a fantastic, character. Everyone speaks highly of him, and what he achieved at Manchester United was unbelievable. He struggled the first few seasons that he joined us to adapt into the Premier League. And do you know what? I have to go with Dennis. I probably think he's one of the best, if not the best, left back that's ever played in the Premier League. Big game player, played unbelievably well throughout the '99 campaign. Yeah. Scored some good goals as well, so some key goals. Has to be Dennis for me.
Yeah, can't disagree with that. Evra was a cracking fullback, but Irwin was something special.
Yeah.
So across for the 4 in the middle, we've got a choice of Giggs, Beckham, Butt, Blomqvist from '99. We've got Hargreaves, Carrick and Scholes from '08. So if we start out on the right.
Yeah, well, I've got to go Becks on the right. 98-99 campaign, Becks was unbelievable. He scored some important goals. The goal against Arsenal in the semis.
Yeah.
Goals against Barcelona. Yeah. So and I think coming off the back of the World Cup as well, obviously he had a lot of issues following France '98 because of the whole incident with Simeone and whatnot. But to bounce back from that and have a season like he had, you can only you got to admire that. He's the best set piece taker and crosser and passer of a ball I've ever seen. And he complemented Gary Neville very well as well. Bex was great going forward, but they worked as a unit so well down that right hand side. They complemented each other, and I'd have to have Bex in that team.
Yeah, like it goes back to the partnerships, like we said with Ferdinand and Vidic. And Beckham worked just so well in tandem down that right hand side, and I'd agree, it's got to be Beckham.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you two across the middle.
Yeah, again, it's tough, isn't it? But I'd have to go with Scholesy and Carras, definitely, in midfield. Scholesy, just no-brainer. I don't even have to explain why Paul starts in that team. And Michael Carrick, again, in 2008, in the final, he played very, very well. Obviously, scored one of the penalties as well, but he had a very good game. And I was listening to watching the Paul Scholes podcast last week, and Scholes, he said that one of the players that he enjoyed playing with most was Michael Carrick, because it gave him the license to sort of go forward, and Carrick would sit and sweep up in front of the back four. But Michael Carrick, for me, is arguably the most underappreciated midfielder in Premier League history, especially outside of Manchester United, because I think only Manchester United fans tend to recognise how good Michael Carrick was.
Yeah.
He was immense, absolutely immense, and I think he deserves more appreciation for the career that he had and the player that he was, because he was outstanding, Michael Carrick.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you say, he cleans up in front of the back four, and his range of passing was
phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
To have those two in the middle, I think, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a no-brainer as well, out on the left.
Yeah, absolutely. It has Giggsy all day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's another no justification needed.
Yeah.
So we'll move up front then. This one's pretty tough. We've got York from '99 or Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney from '08.
See, Dwight and Coley were just partners. The little 1-2s around the corner, unbelievable, and goals everywhere. But you've got to have Ronaldo and Rooney.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's just unfortunate that Coley and Dwight have got those two players in their way, but Ronaldo at Manchester United was just, he was just special, wasn't he? And Wayne was, I've never seen a kid come into a team and perform the way that he did from the age that he did. Even at Everton, you could see he went from a boy to being a man, and then when he came to Manchester United, he just excelled, took off, and there's this myth going around that Wayne Rooney didn't achieve or fulfill his potential, and that to me is a load of absolute nonsense, because he's our all-time top goal scorer for one. And if you look back, I mean, even I was guilty of it. I love Wayne Rooney, but it's only when you look back you realise how good he actually was. Yeah. And Wayne was incredible, and you'll never see a kid from the age of 18 come into the Premier League and dominate it like he has. Yeah. I don't think you'll see it ever again, because it even took Cristiano a few years as well.
Yeah, it did. And I think the thing about Rooney that people sort of fail to mention is how much he sacrificed himself for the team, dropping back into midfield, going out onto the flanks. He sacrificed himself for the good of that team to allow Ronaldo to flourish, and I think that often goes unrecognised. And to sacrifice yourself and be your club, not just your club, Manchester United, and record goal scorer. Yeah. That just tells you the ability that
it goes without saying, and I think it shuts a few people up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a hell of a team.
I wouldn't want to play it, let me tell you.
No, I wouldn't. We could do some of it now.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But yeah, awesome. Thank you ever so much for
coming, man.
And
no problem.
And we'll leave links to your your Twitter and to United Captured in the descriptions.
Yeah, cool, man. I appreciate that.
No problem. And we'll get you on again soon.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. Anytime you let me know, we'll make it happen. And yeah, it's good to be on, man.
Excellent. We'll see you later then.
Yeah, mate. Take care. Stay safe. Look after your family, and all the best.
And you. See you later.
So that was Wes, owner of United Captured. His links will be left in the description below. I suggest you go check him out. And I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did making it. As usual, for more Man United news, check out ranttothereddevil.com and follow us on Twitter @rantdevil. Until the next time.